Alright, so I'm back on the 91 Jeep Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer, excuse me, and I want to work on the carb today. I want to give you an example of how this guy's running, or not starting quite like I would like it to. So if I don't pump it, we don't get very far. But try 4. It's very hard to start. And typically it actually won't idle. I'll have to feather it for a while, give it a few revs. I have a Motorcraft 2100 in here right now for the carburetor. I can smell the fuel, right? So it's running really rich. Give me just a second. But other than that, it sounds fairly good. Now I do have an exhaust leak. I'll probably get to that a lot later than sooner. But I'm going to go ahead and drop this guy in here. Now, I kind of took a chance. I grabbed it off Amazon. Under $100 delivered, 2-day shipping. I mean, that's crazy. Now, it's, obviously not original. It's from another country, whatnot. But it looks really good. This is, it was listed as a 2100, but it's actually a 2150. So it's got some extra bits and bobs to it. Mine doesn't have this. I don't know if I can swap my entire top plate, or if I do have some caps though. I went ahead and just bit the bullet, and I got a few kits here. I got a E-clip assortment kit. I got a vacuum connector assortment kit. This did come with gaskets, so that's nice. I've read a few places where they said that this is tapped differently. So if need be, I can get some different all thread and wing nut. But yeah, now the Jeep's not sounding too bad, but typically it's a lot more difficult to get started. I don't know if it's just because it's hot out. And usually the first time you give her a little bit of juice, it'll stall or stumble. So right now it's not horrible. Let's see if I put it in gear, if it doesn't like that. Oh, running better than normal. Must be because it's warmer out. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm going to round up a few things here. Well, first of all, I'm going to shut this guy off and let it cool down, so I'm not working on a hot engine. And I'm going to start taking this bad boy apart and swapping in the new carburetor. Now, like I was saying, I do have a rebuild kit for I have a 2150 rebuild kit, which, as I understand, and I could be wrong, contains everything I need to rebuild a 2100. So I'm going to keep the original carburetor, and I will rebuild it at a later time. But for now, I really want to make this my daily driver. So I'm going to put a brand new one in there and go from there. My buddy Eric came over yesterday, and we put a little bit of Freon in the system. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but right here there is a rust through. So we just put a little bit in there just to see if it would hold, and it did not. So I have to address that. I'm not quite sure where to get this. This is the high side, and that is the high side pressure switch. Now I do notice, I'm not sure if there's a low side pressure switch. I need to research that. But I don't believe my clutch engages at all for the compressor. And this is Texas, so I really need to have working AC. So that would be real nice. A couple other things I need to do. My wheel bearing for the back passenger wheel there is shot. I picked up a set of wheel bearings for both sides because I figured, hey, you know, might as well do them both. But we'll see how it goes. I've never done one before in a rear-wheel drive vehicle, so this is going to be a learning experience for me. I did pick up a Dana 44 rebuild kit. I'm considering pulling the whole rear end, to be honest, and just going through it with bearings, seals, grease shims, checking everything out. But before I open that can of worms, I'm going to work on the carb. Give me some progress. Alright, I'm going to let her cool down for a little bit. Okay, so back out here. I did get everything apart, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I had to do because I wasn't able to record it while I was doing it. So the first thing I did is I disconnected this linkage right here. And all that required was a flathead screwdriver, and it was just on the ball right there. For this guy, real easy. It was just tucked into this little chain here, kind of like a ceiling fan chain. This guy here was a little bit tricky. I had to actually get a wrench out, and it turned out to be, I believe, a 3/8. So this was on there with the bolt through it, and then that was tight on the armature of the carburetor. And I'll just check here. Yeah, that was the 3/8. Had a spring in there, you know, just used a pair of needle nose pliers, take that off. Pretty straightforward. I did notice a few things, and this may be why I had trouble starting. And I should have checked this earlier, honestly. But this is the pigtail for the electric choke right here, and it's quite corroded. So I'm sure the connection there was intermediate at best, if not non-existent. I did notice on my new carburetor the fitting is not there, the adapter to go from the fuel line to here, so I took that off ahead of time. Lots of vacuum lines. We had our main fuel here coming into the bottom, or excuse me, coming in right here. We had our top line here coming out, which is going to be a little bit different, I think, on the other carburetor, but I'll do a comparison here in just a little bit. Other than that, nothing too sketchy. I did have a piece of steel pipe here come out from down below, and I'm not sure if that was anything more than a press fit. I'll have to look at that to see. But I was trying to loosen it, the whole thing just came up, so I'll disassemble that once I get it out. And honestly, I kind of just want to replace everything and throw like new hardware on it. I don't know. It's a slippery slope when you start replacing hardware, because then the next thing you work on, you don't want to leave it either, and before you know it, you spend all your time looking for nuts, bolts, and washers. Or really could have just cleaned up what you had, but the end result is nicer. I guess it all depends what you're looking for. But I'm going to go ahead and take this guy off, and I'm going to set it to the side for just a second, and then I'll show you what everything looks like with it off, and then we'll compare the two and see if I need to make any adjustments or if it'll be just fine. So that's what I have on the bottom. I'm assuming, yeah, that's the gasket. And I'm going to compare that to the one that came. Boy, this thing is shot. Ooh. I bet you for sure I had a vacuum leak through this guy. And then, you know, I could machine a riser, but I don't need to. I've seen where guys will put spacers on here, and I don't know if I mentioned or not, but this is just my hobby. During the day, I have a machine shop, but at night I teach manufacturing courses at the local college. But this is, you know, a good use of my little free time I have. But it's kind of beneficial to me because I can make some things I need if I need to. But I'll talk about that later. So this guy here, I'm gonna replace anything I can get to now while I have it open. I mean, I'm gonna clean this up really good. Honestly, I probably should have cleaned it up when I still had the carburetor on it. Matter of fact, I might put the old carb back on it, or make a little block off plate or something, and just pause and go ahead and clean everything up really, really well before I continue. I don't know, I prefer to work on clean engines versus greasy ones, if I can help it. I mean, it is what it is, right? But if you can change it for the better, why not? So that's everything there. Again, that I'm not quite sure, I don't know if you can see this or not. I'm not quite sure if there's a grommet in there or what, but I think these are just press fit. But I want to make sure, because if they're supposed to be, you know, something particular, then I want to know. Lots of vacuum lines. I am going to replace all of them once I have a little bit of understanding of, you know, obviously I can see where a line runs if I do one at a time, I guess, huh? It shouldn't be too bad. But the ones that weren't hooked up when I bought it are going to be a little bit tricky. Let's compare these guys here. So this is the new one, of course, nice and shiny, and this is the one I just pulled out. Now I think this will transfer over. If not, you know, that's not that big of a deal. I can figure that out. The main difference from the front that I can see, the accelerator pump has this extra armature on it right here that goes up to this guy, and that is of course different than this setup. So I'm hoping that doesn't cause me any problems. Now again, I did take the fitting off of here, and I'm hoping that it fits in here, because otherwise I don't know what I should do. I think it'll go. I think it just needs to be cleaned up. I don't want to strip it. I think it'll go, but I'm going to be careful on that one. Make sure I clean it up. Oh, there it goes. Perfect. Just had to get the lead thread just right. Yeah. So the way it showed it on Amazon was, all this was anodized, you know, this color, and you know, it's not. So I'm assuming this is zinc coated, which I hope. I mean, nickel would be better, but yeah, it might be anything other than bare steel, which this would be rusted by now if that was the case. But yeah, this is nice. It acts a lot. This one's real stiff. Oh, it's not too bad now. But this guy here is nice and smooth. I notice on the electric choke over here, it's a lot, it's almost got a bit of a spring action to it, where this one, not quite so much. Of course, this may even be original, I don't know. Let's look at the back here. Okay, so there's some differences back here. I'm going to try to flip this over so we can do a better comparison. And I guess I don't know, I'm going to have to figure out why. So if you look at the back of this guy, there's nothing in the center there. Whereas you go over here, and we have this right here. And I am honestly not sure what difference that makes. I don't know. It doesn't look like anything's hooked up to it. Looks like a set screw. Maybe there's a check valve in there. I think there's a check valve in there. Oh, I'll have to educate myself on that. If it is something that I absolutely positively have to have, then I do a rebuild kit for this. I don't know if I mentioned that before. So I can rebuild it if I have to. I was just kind of hoping to do a swap and drop and keep on going, but if I have to rebuild it, I have to rebuild it. It's not the end of the world. Oh, let's see. Any other differences on here? Might as well be thorough while I'm doing it. Nothing else that I can see from here. But yeah, I'm gonna have to research this guy and see what this does. If you happen to know all this and you're yelling at your screen right now, do me a favor and let me know, because I am all about learning. Alright, so I guess I'm not going to put that back on right now. I'll give you one more look at where she came from, and I'll do some research on the rest of it before I put it back together. Alright, I will check in with you guys later. Oh, before I go, I did want to show you, this is pretty much all the tools I needed right here. That's not too bad. 1/2 inch. What we got here? 5/16 and a 7/16 for the nuts that held it down. The 5/16 was for a little bracket on the little bolt on the fast idler bracket right here. And again, if anybody knows where I can get one of these things, I'm not, I don't think this, I don't know if this is working or not, but it is kind of, it doesn't look the greatest. Of course, that may not mean a lot, but it's certainly not a good sign, right? Let's see, anything else down here I can think of to show you guys 1 minute? No, I think I'll call her for there. But yeah, if you guys have any idea what that extra bob is for on the end here, oh, like I said, I'll look it up as soon as I get done here, but I don't know if I have to have it or not, so let me know. Thanks.